country, and it's going to hit black people the hardest. We have to stop nibbling at the edges and actually start solving the real problem.
We've been getting a lot of questions. We've been getting a lot of questions from Apple News and tonight, including many about a candidate who's not on the stage tonight, but it is in this race, and that is former Mayor Michael Bloomberg of New York. And this question came in from Nashville, Tennessee. It says, billionaire Michael Bloomberg has entered the race and just got the endorsement of a former Trump Navy secretary. Why do you think you are better positioned than Bloomberg to beat Trump? Senator Warren.
Look, I don't think anyone ought to be able to buy their way into a nomination or to be president of the United States. I don't think any billionaire ought to be able to do it, and I don't think people who suck up to billionaires in order to fund their campaigns ought to do it. I heard everyone here talking about, as Democrats, we all want to overturn Citizens United because we want to end this unlimited spending. Yeah, except everyone on this stage, except Amy and me, is either a billionaire or is receiving help from PACs that can do unlimited.
Hold up. Everyone but Amy and you? What about Bernie, Elizabeth? Why are you so mean to Bernie, Elizabeth? Stop this. Bernie Sanders is not a billionaire. He's not a millionaire, okay? The man gets his campaign grassroots funded. He literally, he almost got the Democratic nomination in 2016 by small donations, the average to be $30 a person, right? Like, that's what Bernie Sanders runs on, is he runs on money from his constituents. Yeah. So to act like her and Amy are the only ones on the stage is so disingenuous, and that's the kind of thing that makes me disappointed in her as a candidate, is that she can't be honest about who she's competing with.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. That's pretty blatantly obvious that, you know, they always do this to Bernie, man. You just conveniently leave his name out of the whole conversation.
It's a little rude.
Limited spending. So if you really want to live where you say, then put your money where your mouth is and say no to the PACs. Look, I think the way we build a democracy going forward is not billionaires reaching in their own pockets or people sucking up to billionaires. The way we build it going forward is we have a grassroots movement funded from the grassroots up. That's the way I'm running this campaign. If you think it's the right way to run a campaign, go to ElizabethWarren.com and pitch in $5 because understand this.
Go to BernieSanders.com because he was the one who did it first. Bernie Sanders did it first, and I live by that.
The OG small dollar contribution. Remember when Pete came out and had his little contest? Who can donate the smallest amount? Let's have a smallest donation contest. Just because, you know, I want to see who's... Dude, because you want to bring your fucking average down. Because everybody's worried about your average contribution is, like, over $50. Who the fuck donates over $50 to a presidential campaign?
People who can afford to, not your average middle-class person.
Not the people that are in trouble, that's for sure.
Not the people who need to win an election.
Not the people that need help from these candidates.
But, like, it's
bullshit.
It's just so frustrating to me that everyone on this stage feels like they can take this talking point that Bernie Sanders made a talking point. They can take this issue that Bernie Sanders brought to the forefront of Democratic politics, and they can just pretend like he's not part of it. It's just Amy and Elizabeth. They're the only ones. It's just the women, guys. Like, stop. It's such garbage. And I know Elizabeth Warren knows Bernie and has worked with him enough to know that his campaign is grassroots funded, right? These people know their opponents. They know who they're running against. And they've worked with each other. She knows who Bernie is, and to leave him off there is disingenuous, and I dislike it.
Hangs in the balance. If we have to fund through billionaires, then we're just going to be in America. It's going to work better and better for billionaires and not for anyone else.
So,
they better let Bernie talk.
I can't stand the big money in politics. And one of my major focuses is going to be on passing that constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. I didn't come from money. And I just simply think people don't look at the guy in the White House and say, can we get someone richer? I don't think they think that. They want to have someone that they can understand. And you know my background. My grandpa was an iron ore miner. He worked 1,500 feet underground in the mines his whole life. He couldn't even graduate from high school because he had to raise his 9 brothers and sisters. My Grandpa saved money in a coffee can to send my dad to a 2-year community college. That was my family's trust. And you can't send, like Donald Trump got from his family, you can't fit $413 million in a coffee can. My mom grew up as wanted to be a teacher in Wisconsin. She moved to Minnesota. She taught 2nd grade until she was 70 years old. And no, I am not a billionaire, but I stand before you today as the granddaughter of an iron ore miner, the daughter of a teacher and a newspaperman, the first woman elected to the U.S. Senate from the state of Minnesota, someone who has passed over 100 bills as the lead Democrat in that gridlock in Washington, D.C. And that is because we live in a country of shared dreams. And that means no matter where you come from, you should be able to make it. So please help me in my efforts at amyklobuchar.com.
Everybody's getting the fundraising pitches out here right now. Senator Sanders, I am coming to you, but Mayor Bloomberg is. Let me just put the question to you, because Mayor Bloomberg has taken on your argument.
I got an answer before the question. It's more.
He says we need evolution, not revolution.
I can hear that.
Mayor Bloomberg has said we need evolution, not revolution, taking you on directly.
Well, you know, it's a funny thing. There are millions of people who can desire to run for office. But I guess if you're worth $60 billion and you could spend several $100 million on commercials, you have a slight advantage. That is nonsense. What we have got to do is have a nation in which we not only overturn Citizens United, we move to public funding of elections. In terms of money in politics, all right? Our campaign, and I am enormously proud of this, unlike some of the folks up here, I don't have 40 billionaires, Pete, contributing to my campaign, coming from the pharmaceutical industry, coming from Wall Street and all the big money interests. What we do have is we have now over 6 million contributions from 1.5 million people, averaging $18.50 a contribution. That is unprecedented in the history of American politics. If we want to change America, you're not going to do it by electing candidates who are going out to rich people's homes begging for money. The way we're going to do it is build a mass movement of working people who are prepared to stand up, not take money from these billionaires, not take money from Wall Street, but stand up to the drug companies in Wall Street. And if you want to be part of that political revolution, BernieSanders.com.
Mayor Buttigieg, close this round out.
We are going into the fight of our lives. Donald Trump, according to news reports, and his allies raised $25 million today. We need to go into that fight with everything that we've got. Now, I've been very clear on both my record, where I have sued pharmaceutical companies, and what I'm campaigning for, that includes raising wages and raising taxes on corporations and the wealthy. And as the only person on this stage who is not a millionaire or a billionaire, I know a thing or two about building a movement, because mayor of South Bend, Indiana is not exactly an establishment fundraising powerhouse. We are here without the involvement of any corporate PACs, because hundreds of thousands of people went to, yes, PeteForAmerica.com, contributed to this campaign. And let me say something else. If we want to bring about any of the changes that everyone is talking about so elegantly up here, we need to put together the majority that can decisively defeat Donald Trump. And in order to do that, we need a politics that is defined not by who we reject, but how we bring everybody into the fold. And if you are low income, or if you're able to contribute a lot, if you've always voted Democrat, or if you're an independent or even a Republican who's just sick of looking your kids in the eye and trying to explain this White House, we need you to join us right now. I will not pursue politics by telling people they can't be at our side if they're not with us 100% of the time. This is a time for addition, not rejection, for belonging, not exclusion.
Mayor Buttigieg, thank you. I want to turn to climate change and jobs here in America. President Trump.
My bad. What was that?
They didn't say anything about campaign finance in that. Like, everyone was sitting there talking about campaign finance. Elizabeth Warren is talking about, and like Amy Gorbachev, they're talking about freaking getting rid of Citizens United, overturning it. Bernie Sanders is saying, I only take small dollar contributions for my campaigns. And then Pete just goes, I think that we should not exclude anyone. What I'm hearing is I don't think we should exclude corporations because to win, we need corporations. To win the right way, you shouldn't need them. To do it right, you shouldn't want them.
Yep. This is where all the true colors are coming out. I think that this question was probably the one that they were waiting for.
Oh, and there's a reason they saved it for the end, too. I think it's like, this is, like you said, a question where true colors come out, but I think it's also like, if a candidate doesn't have the integrity to stand up and be willing to handicap themselves, to be willing to make it so that they can't take corporate money,
right,
then
it's going to be an uphill battle.
It's going to, they're willing to handicap themselves. That shows like how much integrity a candidate has.
Yeah. Whereas Booty Care knew that he had no chance. 38-year-old youngin,
like
young gun.
His personality and his platform are not popular enough to win with small dollar donations.
It's sellout. That's what,
Trump just signed the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement. Many call it an updated NAFTA. But it does include incentives to make cars here in North America, and it does open Canadian markets for American dairy farmers. Senator Sanders, as we sit here in New Hampshire tonight, both New Hampshire Senators Maggie Hassan and Senator Jeanne Shaheen supported this. They voted yes, calling it a real win for workers and for farmers. You voted no because you said you believe it takes us back years on climate. Were the senators from New Hampshire wrong?
Yes. I mean, it's a disagreement. But if you look at every environmental group in this country, including the Sunrise Organization, we're so proud to have their support because we have introduced the most comprehensive climate change proposal I think ever offered by a presidential candidate. What they are saying, what the environmental groups are saying, we're simply exporting fossil fuel emissions to Mexico. There is not one word in that trade agreement that deals with climate change. And I don't know how in 2020 you can do that. Second of all, there is, in terms of outsourcing of jobs, a major crisis in this country. Nobody believes that under this Trump trade agreement that there will not be continued and significant outsourcing of jobs into low-wage Mexico, where workers are paid, in some cases, less than $2 an hour. So I think the right vote was to vote against that agreement. I don't apologize for that.
Senator Sanders, thank you. I do want to go to Senator Klobuchar. You heard what Senator Sanders just said there. He said not one word on climate in the trade deal. So why did you vote yes?
Well, first of all, I want to defend the honor of the incredible two senators from New Hampshire, Jeanne Shaheen and Maggie Hassan, who work so hard for this state every day, and I voted with them. Why did I vote with them? Because there were some major improvements.
All right, so after this, it goes to Warren, and then over to Steyer, back to Klobuchar, and then we're done. So, to be honest with you, I don't really care. Steyer's going to come in and say, this is my number one issue. I'm the only one guy.
Trump bad.
I'm the only one guy on this stage that's going to say that global warming is my number one issue, guys. Trump is super bad for this. So let's wrap this up. What are your thoughts post-debate thoughts?
Final thoughts. I guess I'll just kind of go through the candidates on the stage. Like you said, Steyer kind of just every issue he'd say, this is an important issue to everyone on this stage. This is Democrats good, Trump is bad. That was everything that Steyer said.
He failed to make any case that he was the one.
The only time that he made himself sound specific was when he talked about race. Warren, there were a couple things Warren said I really liked. I really liked it when she was talking about college debt financing and her 2-cent proposal. I really liked that. But most of what I got from Warren is this is a problem that exists, and then other people would say, yeah, this is a problem that exists. And that's most of what she did. There were a few specific policies that were good. I think Yang did really well to tie everything to UBI because I think it is his breakthrough issue.
Yeah.
It's a very polarizing issue. It makes some people love him, some people hate him, but I think tying everything to that definitely made him stand out on the stage. Everything Yang said, I liked.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can always bring it back to, hey guys, remember what my idea was?
Yeah. My idea, not only does it help fix wealth inequality, it also helps fix race inequality. It also makes college better. It also helps with healthcare because people will have more money to put he could just tie it to every issue that was brought up. So like it just made his platform seem a lot more multifaceted.
Very true. And he also put on a good face for the anti establishment candidate as well.
He definitely, him and Bernie, I think,
it's really
held
good to
it
have
up pretty well.
It's really good to have another one of those on there because
I think everyone's
more.
sick of the Pete
Yeah.
Buttigieg, Joe Biden, Amy Klobuchar.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what I noticed from Biden the entire time was just tripping over his words. Like, the man was struggling to string a sentence together, and when he did, he just seemed kind of defensive to me. Like, he would take things as personal attacks that I don't think were meant to be. And be like, well, I never said it that way. You misread the quote. Like, to me, it was very much, when Bernie was criticized on stuff, Bernie would say, yeah, and I own it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just barely happened. Where he's like, I own the fact that I didn't vote with these two senators.
Right.
I think Biden would just get defensive.
And
so
let's,
Joe Biden, go home. That's all I want.
Let's not forget him starting out by saying, oh, go vote for someone. I lost twice. And I lost once, and I'm probably going to lose twice. But just wait until we get to this one state. Ooh, I'm going to win.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
dude, you're
his
done.
strategy doesn't make any sense. It's
Your
literally just saying vote for
strategy-
another candidate.
Yeah. Your strategy is terrible. I'm going to just go ahead and sacrifice the rook and the knight,
Who
and
else
it's
was
going
on
to
the
be...
stage? I'm trying to think who else was... Yeah, so, as far as everyone else on the stage, I think that Amy Klobuchar... I disagree with a lot of her policies as a candidate because she's not as left as I am. I don't think she said anything horrendous, and I think when she did talk, she did a good job with her time. I don't think she wasted too much of it, except for the last 2 times I talked, I felt like it was kind of empty.
Yeah.
I felt like she, towards the end, she started to get a little weaker. But for the first 3/4 of it, I think Amy Klobuchar really did a good job of, explaining her position. I think she's not a well-known enough candidate to, really stand out yet.
Yeah.
And then, I think Bernie did a pretty good job. Once again, I wish he would have been meaner. There were criticisms of Joe Biden, and he said, I'm not going to take part in that because Joe's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's not your friend right now, Bernie. He's your opponent. And I
Right.
want, if Bernie's going to win, I think he needs to go harder against the Democratic establishment because that's half of Bernie's appeal, is that he's not an establishment candidate. Who am I missing?
We got Booty Care.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Of course, the man of the hour.
The one, the man of all the hours. I think that he did nothing to change my opinion of him.
Yeah.
I think if you already like Pete Buttigieg, then Buttigieg, wow, love that I mispronounced that. Buttigieg. I think if you already like him, then you're gonna keep liking him because clearly he appeals to you. But I don't think he showed anything different about him. The only thing he said that kind of caught my attention was his position on drugs. But after that, he's once again brought it back to same old, same old. I'm an establishment candidate.
Well, brings me to my overall opinion of the whole debate, which is underwhelming. Was looking for a lot more drama.
2020 election, can I just get more?
Can I just get more from this? I don't know. For me, I feel like there have been 7 debates now, and although I think that they need to give a fair amount of time to issues like Medicare for all, universal basic income, just certain hot topics that are going on. Although I think that they definitely need to put put a decent amount of time into those things. I think that they need to do a better job of kind of being current with their questions. I really would have enjoyed to hear a little bit more. Like last time, they were very keen to bring up the wine cave incident and a couple of things that were in the media. And on this one, it seemed a lot more tame. And for me, it almost seems like it might be something that they tried to do intentionally. They tried to keep all the flames off of the corruption in the election that's going on right now, and keep it more towards the issues, quote unquote, scare quotes, that they're trying to go after. Whereas that's what they want. They want to highlight the differences and really make those pronounced rather than take the differences that, are being exploited and that are coming to, that we're seeing happen. They're not doing that,
Well, and I think like the only issue that people started to kind of get a little like, the clause came out when they started talking about Citizens United, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's because it's an issue I care about a lot, but that's the only issue where I like saw people getting engaged and was like super like invested in what all these candidates thought. And I think part of it is that these are the people who benefit, right? Like from Citizens United. Like Citizens United allows them to run campaigns a certain way, and if they win under that system, there's not really an incentivization for them to destroy that system. So like I think for me that's such an interesting issue to focus on, and it's when finally clause started coming out where like Elizabeth Warren completely just disregarded Bernie in that, right? And I think they moved on too quickly from it. I think if they had kept the focus on Citizens United, then you would have had certain candidates really start to stand out, specifically Yang and Bernie. Yeah,
absolutely. And unfortunately, but fortunately, I think we got a lot of good content out of it. But that first half of the debate, there was a lot. There was a lot of like exchange and stuff. And in the second half of the debate, where arguably the questions got more interesting, there wasn't as much, like you said on that citizens.
Yeah.
On
the first half of the debate was just them saying Trump is really bad and we need a candidate who can beat Trump. Right. And then no one really did a great job of showing why they were that candidate. Even the candidates I like, I don't think did a great job of making themselves stand out as someone who could go toe-to-toe with Trump and win.
So overall opinions from the debate, like I said, underwhelming for me personally. I think it would be really, really interesting to see these debate formats open up in a certain way. I think it would be really cool since they give every media platform, news agency a chance at hosting a debate. I think it'd be really cool if they had an independent debate where they could have people from YouTube, people
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, people who are commentators from YouTube, or maybe even just like literally a couple of fucking like contest winners, like just citizens, actually talk to people, actually like run one of these debates. Might be interesting. I don't know.
I guess my only question is like, did your opinions on any specific candidate change, or do you still feel the same about them? Because I think ultimately, like, that's what debates function as an opportunity to like get out and change people's minds. Was your mind changed?
Well, to be honest with you, not a whole lot, but I'd say the only person that I was a little bit not as nauseated with this time around was Klobuchar.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's the one who I think changed my opinion the most. I already am like a Bernie Yang stan, so that was already peak levels. But
but she wasn't as disgusting and as nauseating as she has been in the past, and
I think she did a good job of showing what a moderate progressive platform could look like, and making it sound appealing.
Yeah, I agree. So whereas usually
I guess outstanding award goes to her.
Yeah, right. Interestingly enough, we are awarding Klobuchar with the outstanding performance
She gets the
award,
A+ of the debate,
which is
I would
really
say
wild.
Yang gets second.
Well, Yang is like
every
that.
response was good.
He's very consistent. He's kind of like Bernie, where you know that he's going to show up at the debate and just kind of like speak his truth. But I was a little bit more impressed with her than I have been in the past.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. But other than that, y'all. To those of you patient listeners that are still out there, I really appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. I thought this was going to be an hour-long debate, and it ended up being something like 4 hours. So I don't know if that was their fault or ours. I think it was they were really dragging that shit out, though. Anyways, I want to appreciate those patient listeners that are still out here with us. Thanks again. I want to keep doing this thing in the future, although it's going to keep getting better and better. We'll keep tweaking the system and try to get these things less than 4 hours and stuff. But we do what we can. One more time, thanks again to the listeners. Thanks to the girl KC over here. Shouts out to her. It was really fun to have another perspective in here, or else I'd be in here getting really drunk and mad. So
Yeah, that's what politics does.
Yes, ma'am. So other than that, shouts out everybody again, all the listeners here. Really appreciate you guys are the ones who keep us going here at KU Radio, and I'm really excited for the future, although it's very questionable. I am still very hopeful for things.
Yeah, hopefully 2020 doesn't turn out to be the crap show it looks like.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but other than that, stay tuned on KU Radio. Try to keep you guys up to date. We'll be doing these things more often, I think, now that I got some interest over here on it. So, thanks again, everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed the broadcast. Once again, it's your boy Tykes and Casey over here for KURadio.org. All right, peace out. Have a safe weekend. Appreciate you guys. Bye-bye.